Good morning, everyone. I want to take a second to talk about something that is always a favorite topic of people, or a favorite gripe of people, I should say, in Connecticut, and that is property taxes. Now, if you're a first time home buyer, or even if you just never really paid that much attention, you may have some questions around how property taxes work. First of all, I am not a tax attorney, I am not a CPA. But I am a homeowner and a realtor that deals with this on a regular basis. So I think I have a pretty good grasp of it, and I think I can give you kind of the fundamentals of how to take a look at property taxes when you're searching for a new home. There's a couple main terms that you gotta understand, and so that you know kind of what people are talking about when they're talking about tax rates. That is the mill rate and the assessed value. So mill rate is, first of all, mill comes from the Latin for 1,000, and that is the rate at which each $1,000 is taxed at. Assessed value is basically every town has an assessor that comes out and appraises the value of your home. It's based on formulas and square footage and overall condition and the property size and all of these things. Every town does it a little bit differently, but in a nutshell, periodically they come out and assess the value of your home. That's in my town, Rocky Hill. They do it every 5 years, and they adjust it accordingly in between there. So your tax rate is the kind of the combination of those two. Now, backing up a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about mill rate. So mill rate can vary town to town. The highest in the whole state, really, I think, is 74.29. Some of the other close ones to here are Wethersfield, 40.69, East Hartford, 49.92. I looked these up really quick on online. It's right on Connecticut's IRS website, basically. Rocky Hill, 33.6, Glastonbury, 36.9. So you can see towns right next to each other can even vary greatly. In fact, even within a certain town, you may have a couple extra points here or there. Typically, they're by fire district, or for some special reason that this certain part of town is taxed at a higher rate than another part. And when you're shopping for a home, you can easily find out whether it falls in there. Generally, the town will have it listed. A lot of times the listing, certainly in our MLS system, will have that if you're in a special fire district or historic district or something like that. So let's give you an example of how this works. Now, we're going to take a home that is $100,000. Great. You got yourself a nice little, starter home in whatever town. For now, we're gonna do Rocky Hill because I live in Rocky Hill. So they come out and they determine that your home is worth approximately $100,000. Now, you're not actually taxed on $100,000. You are taxed on 70% of that in the state of Connecticut, and that is $70,000. So now that's actually the assessed value. The assessed value of your home is the $70,000. It's actually 70% of what they think your home is actually worth. So they take your $70,000, and in this case, we'll do it in Rocky Hill. So you take that times by 33.6, because that's the tax rate. That's the mill rate. Divide that number by 1,000, and you get to your annual taxes of I have horrible handwriting, $2,352. So once again, you take the assessed value, that's usually the one you're going to see published everywhere, is the assessed value is this. That's actually 70% of what they think your home is worth. So in this case, $70,000 times the mill rate, divided by 1,000, because remember, this is the cost per 1,000, so this is actually only 70,000, and that gets your final annual taxes. Now, So what does that mean? That is going to be part of your closing costs if you're buying a new home. So just think of that as how much money am I going to need up front if that's not negotiated somewhere in the sale when I first pick up my house, because you pay your property tax up front because the bank wants to make sure that that is taken care of. If you got a mortgage, they want to make sure that's taken care of. So it goes into a bank account and then it is paid out to the town as the year goes on. Also, at closing, you could have some taxes that have already been paid in advance by the previous homeowner, and that confuses it a little bit. So I want to keep it real simple. But what this all means is you have the mill rate once again and the assessed value. You could have two homes next, down the street from each other that are roughly the same size, same age, everything, and you could pay different amount in taxes for each one because one is in a town that's taxed at a higher rate, or one is in a town where the homes are appraised at a higher value. The way that I see this a lot of times is Glastonbury and East Hartford are right next to each other, and you can have this house that is, a selling price of $300,000 next to another one that's the selling price is like $200,000, and the taxes are not actually all that different because the home that is presumably a little bit cheaper, the tax rate is higher. So ultimately, what you need to look at is not the rate that you're necessarily taxed in a certain town. You need to look at what is the annual dollar amount that you're going to be paying in taxes. And that's how you need to kind of evaluate what your overall tax burden is going to be. In the past, taxes are something you could write off in your taxes. Once again, I'm not a tax attorney, but you used to be able to write that off in your federal income tax. Now there are more and more limits, and your property taxes have less and less of an impact in the amount that you can get back in your income taxes. So, long story short, hopefully that gave you a little bit more of an idea of how property taxes in Connecticut work. If you have any questions about your specific town, honestly, you can Google most of this stuff anyway, but I'd be glad to answer any questions for you. If you want to just gripe for a little bit about how you feel that your taxes are mismanaged in your town, or if you want to talk about, brag about your town, generally, if you feel like your trash is getting picked up, if your house catches on fire, they're going to put it out, and your roads are generally clean in the wintertime, then your taxes are going somewhere. So once again, thanks for watching this long. If you've got that kind of patience, shoot me a message. I'd love to talk about anything about houses, taxes, whatever. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.